I know you want to hear about the Free People's Village and that literal, fateful fucking step at the reflecting pool. But to explain why I did what I did, I have to start the story months earlier, before the tents and tear gas and stirrings of revolution, with the night of the last great party at the lab, the night Red destroyed the fun machine. I got to the house just before sundown. Even though I taught in the 8th Ward, just a few blocks away, I always went home to change before a show. My friends would have roasted me alive for showing up to the lab in one of my linen work suits. So after the last bell, I'd bike 2 miles to the G train, the only maglev station in 8th Ward. I'd wait 1 or 20 minutes, depending on luck, watching the grackles argue in the live oaks around the station, feeling nervous, if I'm honest, as I was usually the only white person on the platform. Then the G train zipped me to Midtown. After a few minutes, the old brick cottages and shingle roofs of the ward gave way to shiny community towers, their tops angled and glittering black with solar panels. The landscape morphed from yards choked with invasive vines or flat-topped squares of Bermuda grass into swaying prairies, interrupted by the neatly maintained orchards surrounding each community. Here and there, the prairie humped up in wild ways, passing over the maglev lines that spiderwebbed across this part of the city, with a stop for each community, and fast connections to downtown, the medical center, and the Galleria. At each stop as we headed west, more black people got off, and more white people got on. Disembarking at my community, I dashed from the station up to my apartment on the 7th floor, threw off my stale work clothes, threw on thrifted cotton shirt, denim shorts, and some alligator leather cowboy boots I had found at an estate sale. I threw on a thick coat of eyeliner, clipped a take cup to my belt, and then it was back to the train, back through the prairie and over the bayou, past herons spearing fish along the rocky banks, and finally back through the time warp, to a neighborhood that hadn't changed a bit in the last 20 years of the war on climate change, except that its potholes were wider now. Navigating those craggy streets on my pop-out bike as the sun set was no easy feat. At least I didn't have to worry about cars running me off the road, like they would have in the olden days. By 2020, the only cars left in the ward were wheelless hulks in backyards, colonized by bees and weeds, too rusted to be sold for scrap.